Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle Rook with Scott Barlick, Kooima Kooima Varilek. Well, the grains are all to the plus side here this morning. Cattle futures lower, mixed in the hogs. And Scott, thanks for being with me. Let's talk about the cattle market. First of all, a little bit lower this morning, but it feels like this market has really absorbed a lot of negative news, both that and the stock market, especially with all of this Middle East confrontation that happened overnight and fighting.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for having me. A lot to unpack. We've been, nerves are very high in the cattle market for the last several weeks now. But like you alluded to, I think we're starting to fight off a lot of this negative news and a lot of these stories and kind of finding a spot where we can maybe hold. We're not seeing the confidence from the funds to say, hey, they want to get back into this market and hold this bottom side. But I think this is just the true fundamentals starting to hold this market. So we've made it a good week, I'd say all week, without really throwing some negative bird flu news at the cattle market. And that's kind of, maybe wearing out a little bit as we kind of turn the page to something else, to the Israel, Iran, what's happening there. So I think every day we can put behind a little bit of that bird flu. I think we're realizing it's not, upsetting the apple cart. Demand, not really throwing a big wrench in things. We're not seeing the export bans. We're not seeing any major effects from it. So I think we can start to put some of that behind us for now. Yes, there's going to be more news that it's going to come out. I think they're going to keep testing. We're going to learn more about it. I think it's a matter of time before they say, okay, it's in beef cattle now too, because the list of animals that this is in and has been detected in is quite long. So I think if you keep testing for it, you're going to find it. So I do know that we're going to have to probably soak that up at some time, that it's going to be found in a beef cow. So, but I think we've been through enough of it in the dairy that I think we can shake some of that news off a little bit.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case, because I think you're right. It's not if, it's just when we actually find it. Let's talk about cash news. Has been quiet this week, but we're going into a cattle on feed report, so that's not terribly unexpected. But the on feed report voiced some bullish expectations for placements.
Yes. To start with your cash comment, virtually just dead quiet. It's been very lacking of news. I think earlier in the week, some of those low ball bids from some of your trustee majors were out there that nobody fell for. Everybody kind of wants, steady to higher. I'm hearing a lot of higher asking prices for the week. So I think it was just such a wide margin between where packers wanted to buy, where producers wanted to sell, that we just didn't see any action happening. So, and I think that's fine. We can typically see that going into a cattle on feed report week, that they're going to wait until after the report to try to get some cattle. But I do think the packer wants cattle. We're sitting here in the springtime. We got, peak grilling season and going into May. Usually you can find a bid for every single week in May, plus this over the June or plus that. And it feels like this year is different, that we just don't have a lot of that happening.
So do you think we can have steady cash here, even if it breaks after the cattle on feed report? What's your gut feel right now in terms of where it's going to fall? Because show lists, I know you've told me, are smaller.
Yep, my gut feels really good. I think show lists are smaller. The one thing that I think we're falling back on is these carcass weights. They've been 25 pounds over a year ago, and I think that's the Band-Aid that's keeping the packer, with some of the leverage here. But if they start to lose some of that weight, if we have this transition happen from going from yearlings to the calf crop, I think this, with this cow herd being smaller, with the tighter numbers, I think tighter numbers are ahead. We get through these yearlings, and we're going to have some very nice leverage back, and cash could really pop. I think there's a nice chance for some May cash to really take off. So I'm feeling good. And with all these smaller show lists, I think, hey, maybe we're getting towards the end of some of this weights. We're at a 2-week disadvantage on these carcass weights. So the packer's going to know it first before these weights really start to drop. And so I'll be watching that. Cattle on feed report could affect some of that. My gut says USDA is in the mood of printing some more negative numbers than I feel like. So I'm just, everybody's asking me what I feel like. And I think report will be negative, and I think I'm going to disagree with it. So we'll just go with those two things as my analysis on the report.
Yeah. Technically, I want to ask you about, the 100-day moving average. We went up, got real close to it in the June live cattle. We have not been able to take it out. So that's really one of the big obstacles or things that we have to get over to get the funds back in too, right?
Yeah, the 100-day is kind of sticking its head out there. It's fairly obvious that that's where we've been topping this market out. I think that's just the lack of the funds wanting to jump into this market yet. We had our
Yeah.
super nervous break. Now we've recovered some from it, and we're in a little bit of a holding area, just a waiting zone to see where we need to go next. So if we would take those that 100-day out and get to moving, I think it's going to have to be on the backs of maybe some positive cash news, maybe some help from a cattle on feed report. But as of now, stock market's up pretty good. I don't think we're going to do any of these breakouts today on a Friday. So we're just in that attitude where nobody really wants to be long going into a weekend with Israel, Iran, and that's going for all the markets here. So you're kind of covering yourself, making yourself a little more neutral, making sure you're less risk on the table every Friday as we head into a weekend, and then kind of check ourselves out on Monday and see how things feel, and then re-go from there for the week.
Gotcha. What about the demand side? We've seen the choice cutouts fall below $300, but is that really a concern?
I'm not so concerned yet. I'm just trying to look at the overall health of the economy, and I feel like, yes, with all of the prices higher, that beef is going to have to be higher as well. Um, for me, if they say, okay, beef's too high, they're going to switch from it, then we're just going to decrease the cow herd that much more. There has to be more dollars making it down to the producer if we're going to see this rebuild in the cow herd. I think the cow calf man has made his point that they're not getting enough. That's why we are where we're at and why beef has to be higher. So I don't like to ever see it that choice boxes have broke some, but I think our demand is going to be good. I think we're going to be able to hold this range and possibly put some on top of it as we get into some better weather and some grilling season.
Yeah. What about the hog market? We've seen two-sided trade already this morning, but essentially that market has been kind of consolidating after we had that bearish key reversal. But, do you think this market will recover?
I have a feeling that the hogs can recover from here. The 110s, 111 probably said, yes, we need a little bit of a correction from here. They got themselves pretty overbought and had a little, probably too steep of a rally. But and that's how we can correct with wider, limits on some of these markets, and the computer trading. You can correct a market very fast. So in 3 days, boom, we had a very nice correction in hogs. Probably what it needed, and now it's holding and looking to kind of maintain some of this uptrend type of action. The fundamentals still look fairly good to me. Cash cutout, I'm feeling good about both of those sectors right now. Still seems a little bit hard to kind of find some supply. So I think we're going to be able to recover here on the backs of some friendly fundamentals for a while.
Gotcha. And the grain's all up here this morning. We did score new lows for the move yesterday in soybeans. So how much of this is short covering, correcting our oversold status versus maybe putting in a little geopolitical premium here with what you said about Iran and Israel?
Yes, that falls on all of the markets, I think, as you see the funds with their short positions that they could recover, cover some of those positions heading into a weekend. Just a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen over there. And we saw that energy markets are unhooked on the wild side, large rallies last night, trading lower this morning. And the volatility is certainly there for that. And that's been, something that's been helping the corn, these little energy, the ethanol type margins and some narrowing basis, and seeming like ethanol plants are going after some corn. So I think we have to use that to try to market some of this old crop corn, because, that long-term picture is still okay. We've got weather that's not very evasive right now. We're going to get stuff planted okay. We've already got a little head start on some early planting, and now, once it kind of dries up here, we're gonna see us get it planted very fast. So it's going to be till the middle of June before we have anything in the weather side to really affect it. So not really looking for that. I think your biggest chance for a rally right now would be if this inflation story rears its head again, and makes the news even more, because I think that's been some of the rallies that we've had, is maybe, some of this inflation talk coming back into the market, where maybe there's some funds that say, hey, I want to be long some commodities because I still think this is a thing. So I'm looking at that as a better chance for these grains to rally than any kind of weather type patterns right now.
Yeah, we should also mention EPA is supposed to come out with their decision on allowing E15 for summertime sales. And so I wonder if that's bumping the corn just a little bit or supporting it.
Yeah, no, it really could. I think ethanol margins have been a nice, already a nice shot in the arm, and then maybe that could help us out just a little bit more. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Scott Varilek with Kooima Kooima Varilek. That's markets now.